Right now at 6, KGW uncovers new clues that an ICE detention center could be coming to Portland. Plus,
the families is scared and all the owners from the stores the same thing.
A community once again uneasy with more than a dozen people arrested in yet another immigration raid.
Then Governor Kotek announces she wants 4 more years and takes a stand against President Trump.
So I think it's a good time for her to be running on that message.
And as the Olympic flame makes its way from Athens to Italy, we catch a glimpse of what Team USA will be sporting when the Milan Cauldron is lit for the first time.
It's hard and then sad because, I see my people, some people, they'll leave from this country already because they don't want, stay here.
First at 6, we're hearing from a Woodburn business owner after ICE agents detained more than a dozen people. Thank you for joining us. I'm Christine Pitawanich.
And I'm David Molko. This comes as KGW uncovered new evidence that suggests ICE may be planning to open its first detention center in Oregon. Team coverage tonight begins with investigative reporter Kyle Boshi, who took a close look at government contractor job postings. Kyle?
Well, the job listings for an ICE detention center in Portland closely resemble ads posted last month for similar positions in Newport. The contractor behind that plan withdrew following public backlash. Now the question is, could the project be shifting to Portland?
A federal contractor is looking to hire staff for an ICE detention facility in Portland. According to job listings posted Tuesday, Acuity International is seeking applicants for a warden, assistant warden, operations manager, and other management positions responsible for overseeing the daily operational functions of an ICE detention facility. The jobs are posted as notional, meaning the company is recruiting in anticipation of winning a government contract. On Acuity International's website, the job location is listed as Portland. On Indeed, the same jobs are tied to 7000 Northeast Airport Way, which is Portland International Airport. Spokespersons for the Port of Portland and the Oregon Air National Guard Base both say they were unaware of any plans for a detention center at or near the airport. Currently, there are no ICE detention centers in Oregon. Portland does have an ICE processing facility in the South Waterfront neighborhood, which has been the focal point of protests for months. The job listings for an ICE detention facility in Portland mirror ads posted last month for similar positions in Newport. In late November, coastal residents and local officials packed a city council meeting to oppose a proposed detention center at the municipal airport. The Texas-based contractor behind the plan, Asset Protection and Security Services, later withdrew its lease request and backed out of the project.
Acuity International did not respond to our request for comment. ICE Media Relations told KGW its inquiry was forwarded to a public affairs officer who would be in contact. So far, we haven't heard back, and no other details were provided.
Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate your digging there. Meanwhile, federal agents detained at least 14 people in Woodburn yesterday morning with so far no comment from ICE or Homeland Security.
Celine Stevens walks us through what we know.
The families is scared and all the owners from the stores the same thing.
The fear of immigration enforcement in Woodburn is widespread, and the impact of it ripples into the community.
People are scared to come to the stores, and it's hard to live in this time.
Marco Baron owns a store in Woodburn. He was saddened to hear about the 14 people detained by federal agents Wednesday.
It was an additional 14 people that were detained by ICE, mostly farm workers and landscapers that were on their way to work.
Reina Lopez, president of PICUN, Oregon's farm worker union, describes Woodburn as a vibrant Latino community that's been seeing painful impacts from immigration enforcement.
Many of these folks are essential workers, people who play essential roles like growing our food, taking care of our kids. They're in construction. They're in many industries that are critical to Oregon.
At the end of October, Lopez says 35 workers were detained in Woodburn.
Ever since then, the community has been on high alert.
And in Salem last month, over 25 people were detained in a day. This week, the Trump administration has stepped up immigration enforcement in New Orleans and Minneapolis, which is home to a large Somali population.
We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other, and we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country.
Back in Oregon, Woodburn declaring a state of emergency at the end of November related to the economic and humanitarian impacts of federal immigration practices.
Yeah, I think that it's important for cities to, at minimum, to speak up and show their solidarity with the immigrant community. These are communities that are thriving because of the immigrants that are in their community that contribute to that city.
Jess Montoya with Oregon for All says there were likely more people detained Wednesday that are still being counted in, and says those detained were of Hispanic descent.
It's hard and then sad because, I see my people, some people, they'll leave from this country already because they don't want, stay here.
Celine Stevens reporting there. Stay with KGW as we continue to track immigration enforcement and tactics throughout our area. You can find the latest anytime at kgw.com and on our free TV streaming app, KGW+.
Getting to our weather now, a quick step outside and a look from our Rose City Skycam. Definitely the return of rain in the Rose City. The temperature in downtown Portland sitting at about 45 degrees right now.
So Matt, what can we expect tonight and tomorrow?
Well, the rain's going to taper off a little bit, but we made it through the first 3 days of December with no rain.
That's something.
That's something of an accomplishment for this month, right? It is still raining in Portland, 45 degrees. East winds are light. The winds are going to switch, be out of the south, and when that happens, the temperature is going to bump up a good 5-10 degrees or so. The rain just doesn't want to relent over downtown Portland. It is beginning to progress eastward now, finally, so I think the rain will lighten up a bit overnight tonight, but then a new surge will come on shore tomorrow and renew the rain for the morning commute. So don't expect any one day in the entire week ahead to be completely dry. There'll be dry periods in between the rain, but the rain will be the predominant feature. We're up to nearly 3/4 of an inch. The Portland Airport now, they've exceeded that at Troutdale, 4,700 at Hillsborough, and 6/10 of an inch down in Aurora. Okay, tomorrow morning, it's going to be rainy for the commute, but notice the temperature of 50. We climb to 55 tomorrow. I think there'll be a break in the rain in the afternoon. It'll get breezy at times as well, so we'll be watching that. So, yes, that's what's coming our way. A little break tonight, rain in the morning, then a break again. And notice the winds picking up out of the south. This is tomorrow morning, about 10, 20, 25 miles an hour. So again, that'll usher in that warmer air, which will stay in place even when the winds back off. And I got a lot more rain as we go to next week. In fact, the heaviest rain will come early next week, guys.
Oh, it's December, so we're not worried about that. Thanks, Matt.
In your headlines, a 22-year-old man pleaded guilty and was sentenced today for setting fire to the Blue Heron paper mill in Oregon City. Christian Dukes will serve 60 months in prison for first-degree arson. Other charges were dismissed as part of the plea agreement. Back in January, you may remember Dukes used a lighter to ignite a stack of papers, causing a fire that ultimately destroyed the long vacant building. He told prosecutors he did it because he believed people who camped on the property had stolen his things.
Oregon's governor and Wasco County leaders have announced a new partnership to finish the cleanup from a wildfire in the Gorge. The Rowena fire burned more than 3,700 acres in June, destroyed dozens of homes, and left behind a whole lot of dangerous debris. But Rowena did not qualify for federal disaster aid, leaving many families without the resources to clean up and rebuild. The $3.5 million agreement funded by the state will help remove hazardous materials, protect cleanup workers, and safeguard the environment.
The Oregon Health Authority is urging people to get the flu vaccine ahead of the holidays. So far, hospitalizations remain low, but the percentage of positive flu tests is on the rise. OHA says nearly 1 million people in Oregon were vaccinated this year. That's about 5% lower than last year. Clark County also put out its weekly report today. It shows a slight increase in hospitalizations for COVID and flu.
The choice is between a governor who will stand up for Oregon and protect what we believe in, or a governor who will let Donald Trump do whatever he wants.
Oregon's governor perhaps giving us a glimpse of her campaign strategy as she makes it official. She wants the top job in the state for 4 more years.
And that potentially sets up a rematch with her Republican rival. John Adams is live outside the Multnomah County Elections Office with all the details. John.
Yeah, Christine and David, that was a snippet from a 90-second video that the governor released earlier today announcing her intention to run for another term in Salem. Now, in that video, she positioned herself against policies of the Trump administration. A political scientist that I spoke with earlier today said that could be a positive strategy for her, a winning strategy potentially as we head toward 2026. After nearly 3 years running the state of Oregon, Oregon Governor Tina Kotek has announced her bid for re-election in 2026.
I have never been prouder to work for you and with you. But the fight isn't over. I'm running for governor again because Oregon values are on the line.
In a pre-recorded announcement released Thursday morning, the governor highlighted her efforts to push back against the Trump administration's attempts to send National Guard troops to Portland and other administration policies.
So I think it's a good time for her to be running on that message, right? On a very, this is the position that Oregon took on the national stage.
Allison Gash, the political science chair at the University of Oregon, believes keeping the focus on the Trump administration and turning out voters in the Portland metro will be the governor's most likely path to re-election.
At the end of the day, what's going to matter for Kotek, I think, is whether Portlanders show up fundamentally. And that is typically how these things work in Oregon.
The 2026 election could be setting up as a rematch between Kotek and Republican State Senator Christine Drazen. Kotek edged Drazen by roughly 3.5% in 2022. Marion County Commissioner Danielle Bethel is also running on the Republican ticket. In a statement released Thursday, Drazen criticized Kotek's messaging, saying in part, she wants Oregonians to believe this race is about Washington, D.C., when it's really about our home. Gash says Drazen's chances hinge on whether a strong independent candidate will enter the race that siphons votes from Kotek and how much Drazen embraces Trump administration policies.
How distant is she going to be from Trump, right? How much is she going to distance herself from, the sort of like mainstream Republican Party voices?
Well, according to a poll conducted in October by Morning Consult, Kotek has a positive 8% approval rating from voters here in the state of Oregon. That is one of the lowest amongst governors across the entire United States. But still, more people here in Oregon do approve of the governor's job performance thus far since she's been in Salem. Back to you guys.
Well, we've still got some time, so we'll see how this all shakes out. Thank you, John.